Welcome, South Africa. March 2000, the first race of the season. I am sitting on a satellite Yamaha, a Red Bull WCM bike, not a factory machine, not even close. The rear tyre slides sideways, smoke rises from the tarmac. I know what everyone is thinking when they see that. They think I am losing control. They think I am saving a crash. But I am not saving anything. I am racing and I win. In front of Valentino Rossi in his very first 500cc race, in front of the reigning world champion Alex Krivel, in front of Kenny Roberts Jr. Half the paddock cannot believe it. The other half thinks it is luck, but it is not luck. That is how I race. That is the only way I know how to race. And that is also the problem, because nobody understands what I am doing on that bike. And when you do not understand someone, you do not know how to beat them. So here is the question. If that style works so well, why does my time at the top last only 1.5 seasons? I did not come from the Grand Prix system. No mini motos at 5 years old. No European Junior Championships. No academy. My father raced Speedway in Sydney. That was my world. Dirt tracks, Speedway, motocross. I started on a Honda Mini Trail when I was 6. Did dirt gymkhanas straight away. Then junior motocross on a 125 until I was 16. My dad knew a guy selling a Speedway bike, so we bought it. I raced Division 2 at Newcastle Motordrome. On those tracks, the surface is not tarmac, it is dirt, it is loose, and on loose surfaces, the bike does not grip. It slides, always slides. So I learned to control a motorcycle when it is sliding, not because I wanted to be different, but because that was the only world I knew. I had raced 500cc two-stroke Speedway and dirt track bikes and used a Honda CR 500 motocrosser when training for Speedway and road racing. I always loved the big bikes and I knew I had good control. My first road race was in 1991. I was 19 years old. I won both races that day. Barry Sheen was commentating. I did not think anything of it. Then a while later he called me. He recommended me to the AGV Team Germany 125cc Grand Prix squad after one of their riders got injured. My first road race was in 1991 when I was 19 and I won both my races. Barry Sheen was commentating, but I thought nothing of it. Then a while later he called me up. 4 months after the first road race of my life, I was standing on a Grand Prix grid, but the road was not smooth from there. I spent 7 seasons in the 125 class, and by the start of 1999 I had nothing. No bike, no team, no future in racing. I nearly went back to cabinet making. Then WCM gave me a chance mid-season, replacing Simon Crafar on a YZR 500, and everything changed. 6 months earlier I was thinking about building cabinets. Now I was sitting on a 500cc Grand Prix bike and I discovered something nobody expected. The way I rode on dirt, the way I slid a bike on loose ground, it worked on tarmac. The 500cc two-stroke was the most dangerous motorcycle ever built for racing. The power did not arrive gradually. It hit you like a punch. One moment you had nothing, the next moment you had everything, and if you were not ready, it would throw you off. Most riders learn to manage that power by keeping the bike upright, keeping maximum grip, staying smooth, staying clean. I did the opposite. I deliberately pushed the rear tyre into a slide. The tail of the bike swung sideways. Smoke came off the tyre, and from the outside it looked like chaos. But I was not fighting the bike. I was working with it. When the rear wheel slides, the bike rotates faster through the corner. And when I opened the throttle coming out of the turn, the tyre was already at the right angle to grip again. Other riders saw a crash about to happen. I saw speed. The paddock kept asking the same question. Is he saving a crash? Or is he creating a perfect lap? The answer was both, and that is why nobody understood. Able to slide the fat rear tyre and turn the machine sideways into corners, his riding style was known as the Garry McCoy slide and became a sensation. But the sliding alone was not enough. There was a second element that most people never talk about. In 2000, Michelin introduced a 16.5-inch rear tyre, a fatter profile, more contact with the tarmac. Most riders did not like it. That tyre was difficult to control if you rode in the traditional way, but my sliding style generated heat in the tyre in a way that clean riding could not. I was small, light, and my technique was perfectly suited to that rubber. I was the only rider who could make it work. He had been the only rider to get the 16.5-inch Michelin tyre working to full effect with his sideways riding style and slight build ideally suited to it. Nobody understood. It was never about being crazy. It was about seeing a 500c motorcycle in a way that nobody was taught to see it. And when nobody understands what you are doing on track, they do not know how to beat you. In racing, riders understand their rivals. They know where the other man breaks. They know how he protects his tyres. They know when he attacks and when he defends. Racing at the highest level is about reading each other, but nobody could read me because the body language of my bike said the opposite of what was actually happening. The bike slid sideways, smoke rose from the rear, the tail swung wide. Every sign said this rider is in trouble. But I was not in trouble. I was accelerating. Portugal, Estoril, September 2000. I started from pole position. Behind me was Kenny Roberts Jr., the man who would be crowned world champion that year. Behind him was Valentino Rossi. They had to ride behind me, and they had to watch my bike slide sideways through every single corner. They did not know where I would brake. They did not know when I would attack. They did not know if I was losing control or creating a perfect lap. I won. Roberts finished second. Rossi finished third. The future champion and the current champion both had to watch me from behind. South Africa, welcome, the opening round. I won on a satellite bike. Portugal, Estoril. I won from pole. Valencia, I won for the third time. 3 victories, 5th in the championship at the end of the season on a motorcycle that nobody considered a title contender. And after that season, the entire paddock began switching to the 16.5-inch tyre. I did not just win races. I changed the direction of tyre development in MotoGP. Garry McCoy achieved 3 wins with his spectacular 2-wheel sliding style, and his use of 16.5-inch tyres began a general transition to that size. They did not fear me because I always won. They feared me because on my best days, nobody knew how to respond. The hardest thing to beat in racing is sometimes not speed. It is unpredictability. In 2001, I was still on the podium 3 times, but the injury started before the 2002 season. I broke my leg in pre-season testing. I missed the first 4 races. When I came back, I was still fast enough to start from the front row 4 times, but I did not win again, and the world around me changed. MotoGP moved to 4-stroke machines. My team, WCM, lost their Red Bull sponsorship, lost their factory Yamaha support. I moved to the factory Kawasaki team, the ZXRR. I expected a little bit more from them. As I rode the bike, it was a little bit scary. It was super fast, it did not handle, and there was a lot of work to be done to it. I gave a lot of information and asked for a lot of things, but they just did not have the budget for it. My best result in the entire 2003 season was 9th once. Kawasaki replaced me with Shinya Nakano. After that came World Superbike, then Foggy Petronas, then Ilmore for 2 races at the end of 2006 before they chose someone else. My time at the top lasted exactly 1.5 seasons, from mid-1999 to the end of 2000. My style was born for the 500cc two-stroke and the Michelin 16.5-inch tyre. When the bike changed, when the tyres changed, when electronics began controlling everything, the sport moved forward. But it did not move toward me. The thing that made me feared was the same thing that made me impossible to keep. I am not a world champion. I know that. My generation had Rossi, had Roberts, had Biaggi. I do not have their titles, but I have something else. A style that the rest of MotoGP could not copy, could not explain, and could not fully understand. I came from dirt tracks. I nearly went back to building cabinets. Then Barry Sheen made one phone call, and years later they still call me the Slide King. Nobody understood. Not because I was crazy, not because I was lucky, but because I saw a 500cc motorcycle in a way that nobody was taught to see. Everyone feared. Not because I was unbeatable, but because on my best days nobody knew how to beat me. And maybe that is also why I could not stay longer, because when the whole world does not understand you, they do not know how to keep you either.